Hello everyone, welcome to another video, talking geeky stuff with me. I'm back with another video, my recommendations. And this one is not a new movie, it's just got re-released 23rd of September. So yeah, so I watched it today in IMAX 3D again. But this time's different because it's actually the first time I actually watched 4DX. Yeah, you'd be surprised. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of moving things like this. The only reason why I went to watch it in 4DX was the timing, because I had to be somewhere in the late afternoon sort of thing. And the earliest shown in IMAX was in 4DX. So yeah, by default, I kind of watched that. And to be honest, the 4DX wasn't a bad experience, but just recommended, like, the smoke, the water does get to you, and try to avoid drinking, especially in an action sequence or something like that. Well, anyway, back to Avatar. And before I start, like everyone, I like to play the video or the trailer behind. Also, I'd like to say thank you for watching, and please do subscribe. Someone told me I should be saying this first instead of waiting till the video ends and trying to get people to subscribe. Hey, still pretty new to this YouTube thing. Anyway, you probably noticed I didn't put the spoiler alert little sticker, what you want to call it. I think most of the world has seen this once or twice, right? Either in the cinema, the re-release, the DVD, Blu-ray, and even recently the re-release again. So let's go back in time when it first got launched back in 2009. I remember just before that, right, me and my friend was talking. Would it beat Titanic in the box office? I said no. I actually said no. I say it'll be big, but it won't be Titanic. Titanic, what made nearly $2.5 billion, right? I thought, to be honest, I thought Titanic would never get beaten. And then, of course, lo and behold, Avatar becomes the biggest film of all time, and still is the biggest film of all time with multiple re-releases, of course. And watching it back in 2009 in IMAX, and to be honest, I think it was my first 3D experience. I think it's most people's first 3D experience, and it was amazing. I mean, to this day, if you go back into the 2009 version, I don't think any film movies 3D has kind of bettered that. It still stands the test of time. That 3D was so done with heart, and so where other films has come after, it's just added a 3D as afterthought. That's probably the reason why. So I remember, watching it, I was like so hyped. This is amazing, the best thing ever. And then I watched it again a week afterwards. And then it fell on me that I was overhyped by the technology and the world behind the special effects. And plus, I'm probably a bit biased because James Cameron is one of my favorite directors of all time. Please go back and watch one of my videos. I did a video on James Cameron. Yes, I'll probably be biased and watched it again. It was still great, but it wasn't as good as the first time. Your mind was so hyped up. So back then, I remember I first watched it. I was like, this is a 9 out of 10, a 9 out of 10 film. Watching it the second time, I dropped it down to 8. Excuse me. But looking back at it now, I would probably give it two different scores. I would say I would give the film about 7.5 as a film, and I'd probably give it 8.5 as an overall experience, with the special effects and the 3D at that time. So 7.5 for the film, and probably 8.5 for the whole experience. But fast forward to today, because I didn't see the other re-releases. I had it on Blu-ray, I had it on DVD and Blu-ray, and I think I had it on free DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K Blu-ray. So I got all of that now. But watching this, with Cameron saying that they remastered it, the textures, the special effects, the 3D effects, the sound, and you know what? It looks as fresh as it did back then. So I remember I didn't see the re-releases, so about judging by the watching on DVD or Blu-ray recently, or 4K Blu-ray recently, the one I got a couple of years ago, you can tell from watching the 4K Blu-ray to this re-release, I think the special effects has gone. He improved the special effects. It's more vibrant. The colors, um, the sound quality is amazing. And you know what? Watching it again, I think maybe there's a big time. 13 years has passed, and I think that myself has gotten older. Of course, in that 13 years, I think I've experienced a lot more life experience. You know, I care about more things. I care about more of the world. I care about what's happening in the world. Back then, it's not like I didn't care, of course. I mean, I cared about things, of course, but not as much as I do today. And back then I was thinking the story was pretty shallow, pretty basic, a love story, um, kind of like a Dances with Wolves or Pocahontas kind of love story. He was there to betray, to spy on them, and then betrays them. Then he falls in love and helps them to fight the bigger evil. Pretty, standard story, right? But watching it again. Oh yeah, one more thing as well. Back then, when I watched it in the cinema, 2009, some of the sad scenes or emotional scenes, it was pretty emotional. But I didn't actually shed a tear. I didn't know no tears come out, but I thought it was pretty sad. But watching it again today, I actually shed a couple of tears, in a few scenes. So kind of made me feel like, wow, I'm actually caring a little bit more. But you know what? I actually enjoy the story a lot more now. I think that because of my own experience in life, um, I care more about the world, the environment, how we've seen, and because I've been traveling a lot as well. One of my favorite pastimes is traveling, but I think I've traveled a lot more in the last 13 years. Not the last 2 years, but prior before the last 10, 11 years, I've been traveling a lot. I try to travel maybe 3 times a year, go to all kinds of places, and seeing things firsthand, does affect you as a person, right? And your own experiences, and watching all these crazy stuff happening around the world, from that time to now, and especially during lockdown, COVID, with all these protests and anti this, anti that, and watching all these greedy corporations just take advantage of the system, take advantage of people, is so apparent, especially during the lockdown. And yeah, and then of course this war's going on. So many things has kind of affected everyone, I suppose, and it's hard not to be affected, right? Watching this movie kind of brought all that affect me in a certain way. The love stories are kind of like endless. The underdog story is always endless. Sometimes, as good as the films are, the special effects can be dated. But I'm so glad that Cameron, being Cameron himself, the perfectionist, he re-energized the special effects. Sound effects is amazing. Like I said, it's like watching it brand new. Yeah, I suppose the way I actually enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it the first time. And I said, I shed a tear or two in a couple of the emotional scenes. And I think that the story, the overall story kind of affected me more. I felt, I was rooting for the Na'vi. I was kind of like, how do you say it? Stephen Lang's character back in the day, for example, when I watched it first time, I actually liked his character. I was somehow kind of rooting for him as well, a little bit. I like the kind of badass colonel, don't give a damn, go in there, does his job, really one track minded. I thought he was a cool character. Don't get me wrong, he's still a cool character. Stephen Lang is amazing. And, he kind of steals the show in a little in a way. And but this time, when I look at Stephen Lang's character, Colonel, I can't even pronounce his surname. I look at him, I feel like there's a, I like him as a character. He does a really good job. The actor Stephen Lang. But as the actor, actually, sorry, as a character in the movie, I'm starting to think, wow, this guy needs to get beaten up. He's annoying me. He's pissing me off, and it's like you kind of hate him. And I feel that that's a big change from watching it now and 13 years ago. So I think that the experience I have kind of grown up, supposedly grown up in the 13 years and experienced it. Because I tell you, the last 13 years I've worked for 3 big corporations, some of the biggest corporations in the world. I'm still at one of the biggest corporations in the world now. And it's kind of hard to find a job at the moment with the climate. One of the companies, it was so bad that they forced me out. They forced me to resign. That's how bad it is. Being, being with 3 corporations and seeing how corporate works, it does affect you, and watching this film with the corporate, they use all this diplomacy and PR to teach him English, to teach him this, to build him schools and all that stuff. When you think about it, right? It is such a arrogant claim from people, humans as well, that we can go to a country or maybe in the future a planet that we can say, hey, we offering you all this. Yet they don't want nothing. They don't want nothing from us. All they want to do is just live their life. Be it that their lives or their cultures in our minds are old fashioned, or some would say backwards, but that's their life, right? That's how they live. They've been like that for thousands of years. They enjoy their life. That's how they want to live. And it comes across a lot more arrogant now. I would say that corporations, humans, especially some of the countries in the West or countries with more power than smaller countries, would kind of push their own agenda, their lifestyle on a smaller nation or maybe tribal tribes, for example, and say, your lives, the way you live is old, you need to move on. We don't have the right to say that. So another timeless story is, the underdog winning against the big bear, the big corporation, the one with the biggest money and the biggest guns. Everybody likes a good underdog story. So those things, I would say, definitely, in my opinion, always has a bit more effect on me now than it did all those years ago. But to be honest, not a little bit. I think it has a lot more effect on me now because I actually came out not only enjoying the experience again, the 3D. I haven't watched a 3D film for a few years because Hollywood stopped making 3Ds, and of course a lot of Hollywood movies didn't really do a good job. So 3D kind of is dead. You think about it in the last few years, but I'm glad that James Cameron not only just redid the special effects, sound, and the 3D, it still looks amazing, and it's a shame that 3D was taken for granted. It would have been, if things was done differently back then, maybe 3D would have taken off a lot more than it did, and it's not dead in the waters now. But I would, if you're going to watch it, stay to the end. You get a sneak peek of Avatar 2, Way of the Water. And yeah, definitely watch this again. It's if this is your first time watching IMAX 3D, you're gonna love the experience. Film wise, like I said, depends on. I would say it definitely depends on your age, your experiences in life itself, and so on. But you can just like it for the good old fashioned action sequence, love story, the underdog versus the big dog, things like that. So I would definitely recommend watching it again. And I would say if I had to give it a score now after watching it, I would actually give the score maybe 1% up. I would say that, or maybe I would give the film a good 8.5 out of 10 now. Overall experience 9 out of 10, but the film 8.5 out of 10 are definitely a notch up. It's a good, solid, nearly 9 out of 10, but it just falls short. I'll say if I had to make it like 8.8% or something like that, it's 8.5 out of 10. Movie's great. I would say better watching it now, in my opinion, than it was 13 years ago. But the overall experience, 9 out of 10 easily. Yeah, so definitely do watch this and have a great time, really. And now I'm actually looking forward to a lot more to Avatar 2. I saw the trailer. It was okay trailer. It's a decent trailer, teaser trailer. It didn't show too much. I agree with James Cameron. Doesn't want to show too much, and this is a good kind of starter, to get once December comes and the Avatar 2. So and it's also great for people who watched it before, just a reminder what it's about, and new audience as well who have not seen it, and to catch up with the story and the lore and the world itself. So yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to Avatar 2 now. The funny thing, not so much just a day ago, but now when you know what? Having said to a friend, I don't think Avatar 2 will do anywhere near Avatar in the box office, but I don't know, I think it has a chance. I think it's definitely going to do around the $2 billion mark. Will it do more than Titanic? I'm not sure. I mean, with the way the cinema, well, to be honest, I think it probably will do a lot because I don't see any good competition coming out after that for the next few months. I think just like the first Avatar, it had nothing, no competition for months ahead, really. And the DC movies, the Marvel, the Star Wars, all the big box office movies are not doing as good as they are. I think you know. So to be honest, what is there big until March or May, April, May, around that time? Nothing. So yeah, Avatar's got a good 3 to 4, maybe 5 months of really no competition out there. So I can see easily, I can see it doing $2 billion within 6 months worldwide. But anyway, enough talk about that. Please go and see it, and thank you for watching. And please do subscribe for more talking geeky stuff. Until next time, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you are in the world. And please stay safe. Goodbye.